You wake before dawn in a room so small, your arms could touch both walls. The straw mattress beneath you crackles as you shift, and already you can hear the city stirring outside, carts rattling over cobblestones, a neighbor coughing through the thin timber wall, the bells of St. Paul's calling the faithful to morning prayer. You're a dyer's apprentice in Cheapside, 14 years old, and this morning feels like every other morning in London. The air smells like smoke and waste and river mud. You pull on your woolen tunic, still damp from yesterday's work, and step into the narrow street where the upper floors of buildings lean so close together they nearly kiss, blocking out the sky. You don't know it yet, but this ordinary morning, this moment of scratching at flea bites and yawning into the gray light, is one of your last. London in the spring of 1348 is a city of 60,000 souls, pressed into 1 square mile of filth and commerce and faith. You weave through the crowds toward the dye house, passing merchants hawking eel pies, beggars with rotting limbs, children playing in gutters that run thick with human waste. The streets are so packed you can barely move. Everyone shouts over everyone else. A pig squeals as a butcher drags it by the hind legs. You step over a dead cat, its belly swollen, and think nothing of it. Death is everywhere here, small and constant. Infants who never see their first winter, old men who cough blood into rags, women who bleed out in childbed. But life is everywhere too. The bakeries pump out bread scent that makes your stomach growl. A girl your age catches your eye and smiles before her mother yanks her away. You feel alive in the crush of it all. This great roaring beast of a city where 40 churches compete with taverns and brothels, where nobles in silk step over sleeping beggars, where the Thames carries ships from lands you'll never see. At the dye house, your master is in a foul mood. A shipment of woad arrived late, and he's convinced the Italian merchants are cheating him. You spend the morning stirring great vats of blue dye until your arms ache, breathing in fumes that sting your throat. Around midday, you notice your master's youngest son isn't at his usual post. Someone mentions he's taken ill. Fever and chills, nothing unusual for spring. But there's something in the way the boy's mother crosses herself when she says it. Something in how quickly she changes the subject. You return to your work. The city hums on. That night, a strange rumor drifts through the tavern where you steal a cup of weak ale. Ships from the continent have been turning up in port with half their crews dead or dying, their bodies covered in black swellings the size of eggs. The old sailors call them God's tokens. Someone laughs it off. Someone else says a prayer. You go home and sleep dreamlessly. Within a week, the boy is dead. Then his sister. Then 2 more apprentices at the house next door. The physician who examines them emerges pale-faced and refuses to return. He talks about swellings in the groin and armpits, fevers that burn so hot the victims tear off their clothes and run screaming into the streets, black pustules that burst and leak a fluid that smells like rotting flowers. He uses a word you've never heard before, pestilence. But even as the death toll mounts, London doesn't stop. The markets still fill each morning. The churches still ring their bells. You still report to work, because what else would you do? Your master insists the illness is God's punishment for sin, maybe the Jews poisoning the wells, maybe the lepers spreading corruption, maybe just the general wickedness of mankind. He orders you to pray more and work harder, as if labor could hold back the invisible hand now moving through the city. If this moment, the calm before everything you know collapses, chills you to the bone, hit subscribe so you never miss the next time history turns dark. By June, the streets you walked without thinking have become corridors of horror. Bodies pile up faster than they can be buried. The graveyards fill, then overflow. Then the church buys empty fields outside the city walls and digs vast pits where corpses are stacked in layers like cordwood. You see a mother carrying her dead infant, wandering in circles because she can't remember where she lives. You see a priest collapsed in the doorway of his own church, black swellings visible through his torn vestments, and no one stops to help him because everyone knows. Touch the sick, and you're next. The rich flee to their country estates, loading wagons in the dead of night and abandoning the city to its fate. The poor have nowhere to run. You watch neighbors you've known your entire life develop the telltale fever and know they have perhaps 3 days to live. Some people give up entirely, drinking and fornicating in the streets as if the world is ending. Others pray until their knees bleed. The city reeks of death now, a sweetish rotting smell that clings to your clothes and fills your mouth. Your master falls ill on a Tuesday. The swellings appear under his arms, hard as stones, and within hours he's delirious with fever, calling out for his dead children. You want to run, but where would you go? The plague is everywhere now, in every house, every church, every street corner. London has become a city of ghosts. Half the shops are shuttered. Grass grows between the cobblestones because there's no one left to walk them down. You develop a cough and terror seizes you so completely you can't breathe. You check your armpits, your groin, searching for the first signs of swelling. Not yet, but it's only a matter of time. Everyone says so. The physicians are all dead or fled. The priests still living are overwhelmed, sprinting from deathbed to deathbed, administering last rites until they too succumb. There's no order anymore, no sense. Just the slow, terrible math of bodies piling up and the living shrinking in number until you wonder if anyone will survive to bury the last corpse. You survive somehow. Maybe you were lucky. Maybe you caught a milder strain. Maybe God had plans for you, though you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what you did to deserve mercy when so many children, so many innocent souls died screaming. When the plague finally loosens its grip on London in late 1349, more than half the city is gone. 25,000 people or more vanished in 18 months. The streets you knew are silent now. Entire families wiped out. Trades lost because the masters and apprentices are all dead. You walk through Cheapside and it feels like a graveyard, haunted by the ghosts of ordinary mornings when death was something small and manageable. Not this vast mechanical reaper that moved through every door and took whoever it pleased. The Black Death didn't just kill people. It shattered the world they'd built. The feudal system that bound peasants to land began to crack as labor became scarce and workers could suddenly demand wages. The church's authority crumbled as people watched their priests die like anyone else, prayers unanswered. Art turned darker, obsessed with death and decay. The survivors inherited a world that would never be the same, a world that had learned the terrible lesson that everything you love, your family, your city, your entire way of life, can vanish in months. And maybe that's the lesson that still echoes across 7 centuries. We build our lives on ground we assume is solid, surrounded by people we assume will always be there, trusting in systems we assume will protect us. But sometimes the ground shifts. Sometimes the invisible finds us. Sometimes the ordinary morning is the last ordinary morning, and everything after is survival. If you can't look away from what came next, how Europe rebuilt from ashes, how this plague reshaped everything from economics to religion, drop a comment below. Which forgotten disaster should we live through next? What unsinkable thing in your life scares you the most?